Well, there's some crazy news happening in the world of Dragon Ball Fighters today, as Bandai Namco has confirmed the Dragon Ball Fighters World Tour for 2024 and 2025. On their Twitter page, you can see Haruki-san addressing us, coming back out to talk to the community once again. After Dragon Ball Fighters has had a rough couple of months where we had the release of rollback netcode, a couple of issues with it which have been addressed. There's still a few bugs with the spectating client. Playing the game feels great, have to admit that one. But some of the issues still exist with the console versions of the game. Xbox Series is still having crashes. The PlayStation 5, you can't use anything but like a PS5 controller on it, basically. That has been confirmed on terms of PS5 that they are working on to fix that one. But now, with the game at a functional, I'll say, state, it seems that Bandai is ready to move forward with these plans here for 2024 and 2025. On their main page that they link to, you can see all the details and information about this. This World Tour, you can host events on it from June to about middle of September for the Tenkaichi events. And that's information that's down right about here. Tournament organizers can submit these from this period of time. But then in their power events, they do have some events that go off into October across the world, like Thailand, Mexico, France, the United States again with East Coast Throwdown. Evo is a power event again. Now, Dragon Ball Fighters isn't at Evo properly, but it is a community event at Evo. And with this news, I think the popularity of that is going to spike up quite a lot. CEO is also the first power event as well. This is the major coming to Florida at the end of the month, which I will be at and attending. So I will have some involvement on this one. Also, hi, I'm CD Mangaka, in case you couldn't figure that out from the YouTube channel and all that. But yeah, we have tons of stuff going on here. And with rollback netcode, we now have online events, right? And I have to shout out community organizers like Neo Judai for hosting his Duel Academy series for Dragon Ball Fighters. That's been a very popular series so far. Tons of fun stuff there. Damascus with the Wanted series. Tyrant with his Online Warriors. I think that's what it's called, series. And, Tampa Never Sleeps hosted Dragon Ball for the one time. Maybe the community's got to be like, hey, Tampa, please host more online Tenkaichis for us. Tong, I'll be up in some of your boys' DMs, not yours, because you a busy guy, and I know I'll be in Lucas's DMs, I think, to pass all that on. But with this news, there's also news of a patch for the game. Now, if you've kept up with some of the discourse for the game itself, you'd know that the patch is generally considered pretty fun. It has a wide diversity of playable characters, right, for top-level competitive play. I think it's the widest it's ever been. But there's some outliers. There's a couple of moves that are a little strong. Maybe need to be toned down. Maybe a few characters need to be toned down here and there, right? Like a few tweaks and maybe the patch is kind of perfect. But the thing I want to point out the most here, actually, is this little bit from Hiroki's interview. I have one more good news for our players. Arc System Works and I are working on a new balance patch to come this summer after EVO to spice up the competition a bit more. Why do I highlight this? Well, I highlight this because, to my understanding, Arc System Works has not had any involvement on the patches themselves since like Season 1. Season 1, Arc System Works directed the patches. They did the changes to those patches. And then Season 2, the Bandai basically took over, said, okay, Arc System Works kind of given us like some insight on how to do some patch directions and stuff like that, but this is our game. We're going to be in control of that one. And the business relationship between Arc System and Bandai went forward as Arc System Works would develop content for the game, so they would make DLC characters. And Bandai would be in charge of the game balance changes themselves. And to my understanding, Arc System Works and Bandai have not really been on good terms for a while. COVID put some strain on those things, as well as Arc System Works trying to focus on, other games. Think of Guilty Gear Strive. That's their flagship game, for Pete's sakes. Helping out with, like, Under Night 2 now, Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, DNF Duel, just to name a couple of examples. Like, Arc System Works is a small company that can only juggle so many things at once. And for one reason or another, things kind of broke down for the time being between Bandai and Arc System Works. But now, and the last time that Arc System Works has had anything mentioning Dragon Ball Fighters was this tweet from 2020 saying, hey, go talk to Bandai about Dragon Ball. Leave us alone. That's what they've said. So That's the last like official thing, and there's not anything else because there wouldn't be a company thing of there wouldn't be something crazy formal about this one. Most of my knowledge comes from talking with a few people who have worked with Arc System Works in a more business function level and sharing some information with me for the sake of just protecting them and everything else. I'm gonna not speak anymore to that. But the fact that she's name dropping Arc System Works and that they're involved here is some crazy news. Because to my understanding, Arc System Works hasn't done anything since season 1 in terms of balancing the game. Now, I don't know if this means that Arc System Works is going to have some direction on the game itself, or if they're just coming on in to implement the changes, right? I don't know the dynamics of that relationship, if it's been Bandai who's been able to make changes by themselves, or if Arc System Works has had to make changes, ship them over to Bandai, right? So if this is just same old, but the fact that once she's highlighting this is like the first explicit involvement of Arc System Works and Dragon Ball FighterZ in years. This is a big deal because this shows that perhaps things are improving between the two companies. I do want to point out that there was Katsuro Harada, the director of Tekken for Bandai. He had this very long tweet talking about Guilty Gear as well as praising Arc System Works. And while he's not the Dragon Ball FighterZ representative, he's a Bandai Namco representative, right? And a very important one because he does a lot of the fighting game stuff. Game director, chief producer of action fighting games, right? General manager of the Bandai Namco S original IP game projects, right? So maybe him with this very long tweet that you can find on Twitter talking about Arc System Works, their cell shading style, how and all these things. Maybe there's some positive influence coming from him, and maybe there's going to be rooms for future Dragon Ball IPs with Arc System Works and Bandai, or other IPs as well, right? Maybe Arc System Works and Bandai are going to be working together again in the future. Who knows? Who knows, right? I have my own tweet about this one. I don't know, again, if this is some direction that Arc System Works is going to come on in and maybe with a professional fighting game studio's approach to balancing a fighting game, which, granted, you look at Guilty Gear Strive and go, why the hell would they balance things like that, right? You can have some complaints about it for sure, but people would be looking at Bandai Namco and be seeing things. So maybe there's going to be a change of pace because the last couple of patches, there have been literally like predominantly buffs to characters, making crazy things happen within the game itself, and moves behave in ways that, or are balanced in ways, I should say, that they weren't ever intended to be. We'll talk about that in another video, because now that we have a patch coming, I can make a top 5 most, my top 5 most wanted changes to Dragon Ball FighterZ. So this is a big deal, and who knows what this can result in, right? But there's a crazy bright future for Dragon Ball FighterZ. It kind of feels like that Bandai got their ducks in a row. Dragon Ball FighterZ is in a good enough state for them to host a world tour on, and they want to give us another version of the game. The fact that the game is 6 years old and it's still seeing support like this, I think is pretty phenomenal. Like, I think this kind of alleviates all concerns that Bandai was going to drop, roll back, and dip. Things have been a little slow and frustrating at times. There's no denying that, and I'm critical of Bandai towards that. But the fact that they're still doing this, they're still coming back, and that this is happening is something I am grateful for. And I'm thankful that if it's just taking them time to make sure they get everything in a row and line it up so that they can make it the best that they can, I will take that. I will take that. Big company, crazy stuff happening there, and who knows what the future holds. But the fact that we have this could mean a lot in terms of like the future of Dragon Ball, and I don't want to understate that anymore. So if this is all new information to you, I think I have a video somewhere on my YouTube channel that link in the description talking about Arc System Works and Bandai Namco and that whole dynamic to it. But we're going to see, because this is some exciting news. I'm happy to be a part of this to some degree. So y'all, let's keep mashing buttons in this game. I'm Mangaka. I'll talk to you later.